Hi, I'm Vincci. So today I'll be the moderator. See, I'm still nervous.
Don't be.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Okay, we're gonna have a good time.
So we just finished watching the movie Three Colors Blue, and I would like to let everyone know in 1994, Kieslowski's movie Blue was the opening film of Hong Kong International Film Festival, while White was the closing film of the same year, and Mr. Kieslowski was here in Hong Kong at the very same venue, Culture Center. This means a lot to us, huh? Okay, so in the first section, I would like to ask more about your collaboration with Mr. Kieslowski. In the film Blue that we just seen just now, there is a scene that you dragged your bare hand across the stone wall, and that moment is now regarded as the hallmark of emotional acting in world cinema. I understand that it was your idea to do so. For younger audiences who just discovered this masterpiece, could you tell us more about this?
Well, the scene existed, and in the description of the scene, there was my character Julie had to, pull this hand because she's going through such a hard time. It was a way to be in contact with her body somehow, and so Kieslowski had asked the makeup artist to make a sort of protection so I could do it. And the first take, the protection went away. It didn't stay on my fist. So Kieslowski was furious. It was the first time I saw him shout at the makeup artist, and I felt terrible. And I said to him, well, I can do it for real, don't worry. And he said, and he got even crosser. He really was, there's no way you're gonna hurt yourself for cinema, for a film. And I said, well, that's fine, I'm used to it, And because there was no other, because he wanted to postpone and cancel that day of shooting for that scene, but we could not go back to that place. It was the last day. So finally I did it. And it's true that during the whole film we had to cover my scar. Yeah, it was open. And during the whole film I had, pieces of makeup that was hiding my fist. So that's the story. But the scene existed already in the film, of course, yeah.
Afterwards, do you find any movie that makes you have this kind of strong feeling doing this?
Many. No, but what was beautiful is that I felt it was the first time that a director was fighting for me to not be hurt. And that was a big surprise to me. So I always worshipped him as the angel director.
And also, Kieslowski was famous for the focus on very small, everyday objects. I would like to know, did he ever discuss how these objects were meant to trigger the character's emotion? Or did he leave it to
No,
you?
we didn't have those kind of discussions. Like a few days before shooting, we had to change the costume director. And I was very worried because a week before starting to shoot, I didn't have the clothes for this film. And he said to me, because he saw me so nervous, he said, don't worry, I'm only interested in your intimacy. And that was so freeing for me that he could say that. And I understood what he meant, because the first day of shooting, I was in the scene, the first scene, when I'm at the hospital, underneath the sheets, and crying with the camera inside of my tent, and seeing the funeral, as well, the little video. So as soon as we started shooting, I let go totally of, worries and, I was in the intimacy, because he had said that. But even more because I decided to make this film because of a friend. And this friend I had just met like 2 years ago, 2 years before. And she had lost its son and husband, through cancer. And so we talked a lot about what it feels like to be alone, what it feels like to go back to hope, what it feels like to live this life with very present beings that are not physically there, you know, in the house. And so when I read the script, I said yes immediately because of this relationship of this dearly friend. And that's why I could say no to Spielberg, who asked me before, you know, because I had this urge of being in the film and telling the story of what it feels like, what it is to be suddenly alone in your life, you know, after building a family before. And I remember I was always connect myself with Justin, this little boy who died at 12 years old. And so this intimacy was related to that little boy and that story. So the objects, and I remember actually, because I had ideas for the film, and I remember sharing those ideas before we started shooting with Kieslowski and saying, I had the idea I could do this, I could do that, and blue, white, red, isn't that a good idea? And they were big things usually, and he said, no, I'm only interested in small things. And that I understood, and especially when I watched the film, you know, when you see the little drop on the window, or you see the sugar in this coffee, and it's that, you know, because we're living with those details every single day. We're related to actions, little actions, what we see, you know, we observing our life every day. So I totally understand that in order in a film to go into places that are real and personal, those details are meaningful and necessary.
Since you mentioned about say the sugar cube or the blue chandelier, did he, because I heard that he has very precise on his direction, like the control on the mise-en-scène or even the timing of your movement, did he have such precise direction that you feel restricted?
The restriction was in the number of takes we could do. And usually there was one take. And when there was a technical problem, like the sound was not exactly well taken, or the framed, whatever, he'd say, let's do another one. So I was pointing my finger like this, hey, director, can I do a second one? I had a technical problem. And he said, no, it was perfect. So I had to, you know, to fight to have to do a second take. And I said, why? Why don't we do 2 takes or 3 takes? Come on. And he said, well, after that, well, first of all, he said that I was trained to only have 1 take because film is very expensive in Poland. So I was, you know, I was trained to be only 1 take. And then suddenly he said, well, and also to, you know, then you'll have 2 takes, and during the editing room, it's a struggle between 1 take or 2 takes. And so he said, I prefer to have a non-problematic choice, you know, time. So, but at the beginning, I was able to get a second take most of the time. But what happened is that he would make us rehearse like 5 times. And then on the 6th time, we would shoot. And he said, well, he said to me, it's not the same. I said, of course it's not the same. I'm always recreating. I don't know what's coming out. Don't ask me to be a robot, you know, I am not. And so we had those giggles because we would laugh a lot, even though the theme of the film was very dramatic. But there was a lot of joy during shooting. We would laugh and like teasing each other all the time.
As a cinema fan, I can't recall me seeing Kieslowski laugh out.
For me, in my memory, it was laughing all the time. But he was smoking a lot, every single take. So there was smoke that was coming out of him, and the camera was next to him. And so I was always worried the smoke would go in front of the camera and blurry what was happening.
Okay, last question about this movie is that how did the collaboration with him change the world you see film or acting afterward?
What struck me is that the difference between the fact we had so much there was so much happiness while we were shooting this film. It was easy to make the film. And the fact that it was a success around the world, you know, it's been really a film that people talk about a lot because it's something so perfect of the equilibrium between the music, the lighting, the cut, you know, the editing, and what's happening in between us actors. I think there was some kind of, and the theme of the film was, you know, was very deep and simple. And one of the things he said, and I think it was very meaningful to me, he said, "No tears, no cry." And that was my, you know, my specialty in films. So I was like, what? So, and I remember the first day of shooting, when I suddenly realized that my daughter was killed and my husband was killed, I said, well, let me try a take where I'm really crying very, very hard. He'd say, no way. And I think that was really key for the film. That was beyond crying. That was beyond, you know, references of what we feel sadness is something that is somehow deeper.
And also, as an audience, I think when the character in the movie does not cry, I cried at heart.
Yeah, because there's a resistance. And usually that's what happens. In acting, you learn that resisting to the emotion is stronger than having the emotion. Because it allows the audience to understand, because that's how we do. We behave. When there's an emotion, usually we don't go with it, we resist the emotion. And sometimes we go into it because there's no resistance to have. But yeah, the shooting was special because there was no drama. There was nobody was really being serious. It was, we were connected for sure. We were in the work, but there was a sort of something about the story and something about, you know, the complicity, the love that was, you know, between us, and not being frightened to be, you know, you need love in order to be in an art form. I believe that. Because if there's no love, there's no real connection to what it is to be a human being.
I find the theme of this movie resonates a lot in this era, because we are always talking about traumas, or how to heal yourself, or the inability to cry. But you mentioned love. What do you think love helps you on your work as an artist? Like how?
I think it's the medium. Love is a medium. Now, sometimes we go through emotions, and you know, sometimes you're frustrated because you didn't do another take, or you're frustrated because you feel like you're not being, you know, in the same kind of vision, you don't have space, or whatever. But you've got to transform while you're working, and that's the beauty of it as well, because you come with a certain mood, you come with, with your home, when you come on the set while working in any art set, really. And how do you transform? How do you lift yourself into a place? And for me, it's, and acting is very much about descending into you, and that's why in my film, in I in Motion, I start with the sensation, because it means that you've got to descend into a place in you in order to be truthful, because the body doesn't lie. Our head fucks up, our head, our projections, our ideas, conceptions, they're fucking us up in a way. But if you really be in touch with what you feel, what is the truth of what you feel, what's inside, if you really descend into that place, there's no lie. But you've got to make that movement in you and allow the truth of what it is to happen. And I think because love, we have sometimes a projection of what we feel is love, putting some kind of sugar around it. But it's not that. There's a truth in understanding what's happening in us. And if we start with the truth, eventually love will come. Because it's not an idea. It's sensation. Love is a sensation, allowing whatever comes, allowing the truth of what it is to come. And it is already love, I think. Do you see?
Starts with love and truth will come.
Start with truth and love will come.
As well. Since you talked about sensation, I think one needs a certain kind of qualities to be so open, so as to have the direct connection with your feeling, your sensation. Do you think, what kind of characteristics do you think we need? And do you think actors can practice that? Or cultivate those qualities? Cultivate the qualities that you can have a full connection with your sensation, with your feeling.
I think
inside.
acting is always a connection with your sensation. Preparation, for me as an actress, is to relate what's written on the page and my being, my history, my experience, what it is for me to be in that situation. So I have to descend into a place that is often a memory. So I'm related to something truthful in my life. Otherwise, learning lines and, thinking of the lines is not really acting for me, but it's descending into the body and your life and your feelings. That's the start of acting. Because acting is a place of not thinking, but of being. And being, when you're truthful in your life, you're not thinking of what you're living it, So it's replacing your questions about, what did I feel here? And how do you get there? It's really descending into your being, into the sensation related to that memory. Do you see what I'm saying? It's so...
It's like a little secrets of you.
It's what?
Like a little secret of you. You pick up some feeling from real life, and then you project it in the character.
You read a situation.
And no one will knows which memory you are.
Nobody knows, but it feels like it's real. It feels like it's truthful because it's related to my being. Because otherwise it's an idea. And it's the cells have to live, have to be truthful in order for the audience to, I feel something I feel something that reminds me of something real. So it goes in through the body. If the body is not involved in the acting, for me, is not a real experience as an audience, but also as an actress. And you have to detect that when you're watching a film. Is it true or not? And you can really, it's an interesting question, because if it's learning lines and doing the same kind of number of, being funny, like, acting like this or doing a trick like that, I get bored, because for me it's not related to something that has been lived and related to an intimacy of the person. Do you understand?
Well, they all understand.
Do you see what I mean?
I think this is, so can I describe it as body as our guidance? If our body don't feel right, maybe.
But a body that has feeling. So it's not just the body, it's the body that is full, is related to is our tool to feel.
So it's always about the feeling, to feel. Can we do something to cultivate this courage, this quality? Because most of the time we are doing this and doing that, we're worrying this and that, we're using our head over our heart.
Well, it's about questioning what is happening in me. Where is the sensation? You have to put yourself through the scene you've got to play, and something that is related to that situation in your own life, and then descend into you. It's really a descending, an awareness of where you are. But that would be a session of acting we've got to do here.
Maybe there are actors or potential young actors as well. Okay, maybe I will ask some question about while we're on the film set, because I'm sometimes curious. Say, as a director myself, I'm curious, do you stay behind while they are shooting some scenes you are not in? Do you stay to observe, or do you have other preferences?
You mean when other actors are playing?
Other actors, or while they're just shooting scenes or objects?
No.
You don't stay behind?
No, I'm preparing for the next scene, or I, concentrate on the next scene. Or, they have work, I have work.
Also, you expressed that actors should focus on how they feel just now rather than how they look. I imagine you didn't always feel this way on day one. Was there any experience, say early in your career, was your aha moment or a moment of regret? Like, I should avoid the playback monitor, or I shouldn't care about how
When I started, there was
looked.
no monitor.
Oh, yeah?
I'm that old.
You're right, the film.
And no, there was no way. There was no monitor. And I never look back at the monitor, because I think it's a little dangerous. Yeah, it is dangerous, I think, because inside of you whether it was truthful or not. A monitor is not going to give you that. And you've got to trust as well. You've got to trust the director. You've got to trust the DP. You've got to trust. So as they're trusting you, that if you want to do another take, you know why. There's something in you that it wants to give itself. You don't know exactly how it's going to be, but you know you need to do another one, a new one. So there's trust that needs to be knitted between, the world of, acting at that moment, of creating at that moment, and the other side.
Mm. And also, as a director myself, I'd like to seek for your insights. What to do when actors are too tense, thinking too much, or too careful?
Change job. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I think there's a lot to do, but then, to let go. Preparing a film is actually quite good, because then you can really try, and go into different directions. But it's the intelligence of the director also in knowing what to, where to go or what to say in order to, because it's so frightening to be in front of a camera. It's very intimidating in a way, because the focus is so much, on you. But if you really know as an actor why you're here, and what's the challenge, where's the responsibility in a way, and where's the, where you want to go and try and experience, the fear goes away. Being tense goes away, because you're so much into, the need of exploring what it is. So it changes the gear, it changes the focus, because then it becomes about creation. It's not about you. It's not about your fear. It's as soon as you focus in, and it's truthful for anything. If you're frightened, it's because you're not focusing on the right place. And then you liberate yourself. And that's why, you're not tired. It's interesting. You can work 8 hours of acting over and over, and when you're really in sort of the right place, you're actually being energized by it and not tired.
This is a good trick. And you have worked with so many brilliant filmmakers. Is there anyone who, in particular, who is so good at communicating with actors?
Yeah, Anthony Minghella was very good at it. He did The English Patient, and we did afterwards another film called Breaking and Entering. He was very, very smart, and also leaving space for any people who was working with him. So the set designer had the space, the DP had space to create the way he wanted, and there was communication, of course, but he was really generous. Lately, I worked with a French director, like I finished acting with him 2 weeks ago, and it was very smart. Antoine Chevrolier, that's his name. But some directors, they don't know how to direct, and they're wonderful. I mean, they let it happen, and that's their intelligence, because they wouldn't know what to say. So they learn to be patient and to trust the actor who wants to do another one and another one, But often, you don't need to be a smart, director for actors. You just, you've got to know, your subject and where you want to go and how you want to shoot it, what you're showing and very often what you're not showing. So the audience is actually on a journey of searching themselves, of creating themselves while watching. So it's not explanative way of shooting. It's something that retain or, attract in a place. And so the audience is actually going on a journey themselves. I don't really like films that are too explanative or pleonasmic in a way, when you have the music showing you how you should feel, like there's fear coming, so it's coming ba 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 ba, or there's kind of a romantic moment, so it's like whatever, with the violence. I hate that. And I switch off most of the time when it's trying to tell me exactly what I should think, what I should feel, what I should, I like to be free in my own feelings and thoughts. I think it's very important. And art is allowing you to experience who you are and not telling you what you have to, think. And it's important to choose what you're watching very carefully, I think. because for me, cinema is an art. It's an art form. And the tendency of multiplying images and not really feeding your being, just experience whether you're being fed by something at the end of watching something. That's very important, because you're going to live with those images, with those stories in your life. So they're going to nourish your dreams. They're going to nourish your being. So you choose what you want to watch.
Unfortunately, nowadays the streaming industry, they are making films or TV series which are so exactly like what you said just now, so obvious. Like 3, 2, 1, cry. That kind of footage, I'll call it. What's your perception towards this norm?
I don't know, because I don't watch them that much. No, I don't. No, because life is precious. Time is precious. It's your time. It's your life. It's not their life. So, yeah, they have purposes that are not really to make you an artist. Look for to be yourself an artist. And what is an artist? It's a very important question, I think. You're not just a spectator. You're more than that. And so I believe that if, in the history of cinema, you have gems. You really have diamonds. And that can transform your life, that can transform and make you happy at the end, because you touch something special. You touch a place that is transforming you. I think transformation is a key word. How do you transform through a film? Did you transform? Did you learn something? Were you touched in a place you've never thought you would be touched? It's not just about images, and it's going to make you feel, oh, wow, 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 wow. It's not about that. Life has something to offer that is different. Anyway, everybody's free.
Thank you. You are what you watch. Okay, now, since you talk about transformation, we witness how you transform yourself in your directorial debut, not only as a director and also with you inside in the dance theater piece. Can you tell us more about your intention of making this documentary?
Well, first of all, I have to say that my sister, she shot us, so I was not behind the camera, I was in front of the camera, but so I was privileged enough to use her rushes and make a film. So I spent a lot of time in the editing room, because that was, the purpose of trying to make a film that is not explanative. That was the difficulty in a way, because I didn't want to have a voiceover that was going to explain everything. But attract people into a place that maybe they've never been before, because seeing the process of creation is rare, and that's always what I like. And I want to know how things are made. It can be something very simple. It can be a table. I want to know how it's been made. How long you took time to make it this form or that form. I think I wanted to share that because I think it's where it cooks, it's where it's happening. It's like when you eat a wonderful dish, you wonder, but what kind of, what spices spices, les épices, spices, I think, yeah. So I had to take the audience in the beginning was difficult for me to edit in a way, because I didn't want to lose too much the attention of the audience, but yet I wanted the audience to follow up, you know, until we go into the core of the creation. So, I mean, the equilibrium, I don't know if you watched it. Have you seen it, the film? No, they're bored. We've got to move on to another question, I think. Because they haven't seen the film, so what? It's in our emotion. It's going to show somewhere. Oh, you've seen it, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, let's move on. But, you know, maybe one day you'll watch it.
Okay, I would like to know more about your philosophy, because I think as an artist, your philosophy gives us so much insights. So I would like to know, in order to connect with your own true feeling, do you think we should do something to cultivate ourselves in daily lives?
Well, to learn to be truthful, I mean, yeah, well, that's what we try to do, no? That's what we try to do, and to question yourself, that's what it is in your everyday basic life. I mean, there's, you know, that's part of what life is. I don't know, there's no recipe. It's just questioning yourself. And, you know, what do you feel? What do I feel? You know, that's what it is.
Do you think we should constantly ask ourselves, what do I feel? What is my feeling right now?
Well, you know, if you're in contact with you, you know. But if you're unsure, it's say the truth, and what you say, do it.
Mm-hmm. And also about letting go and abandon yourself while you're in acting. But I truly believe that you do it in daily life as well. You try to push your own boundary in daily life. Is that true?
My God, you're talking too much about me. I prefer to talk about something else. Come on.
Okay, I'm like asking question out of a fan, you know, fan question.
Use yourself to something creative. That's what it is. And in a way, it's forgetting yourself. That's what it is. So how can you be creative? That's a real question. Maybe there's something in your life you've never done before, and you want to try, so just try it. Trust yourself and work regularly. I think that's what it is. To be constant is very important. It's difficult because some moments we blurry, some moments we lost, or we feel it's never going to happen, but you've got to carry on, you know, that's the journey.
Can you elaborate more on forgetting yourself, you just mentioned?
It's a sign. It's because when you're in a creative process, it's not about you. It's about something else. But it's about, you know, the purpose you're giving yourself. It's exploring something in you through an art form, or through, it can be a cooking, it can be an art form as well. So it's the need of exploration. What is your need? Where is your need? That's the real question.
What is my need?
You ask another question.
In order to search for something we do not know yet, I think it needs a lot of courage. Where do you gain the courage from?
It's the need that gives me courage. I don't have courage, but I need to know what's happening here. Where does it go? I need to explore this or that, to try a new form. Then I get I don't think of the courage. I need to do it. And then comes what comes. And some days I don't have the fucking courage, but I still do it.
Well, thank you for your answers. Do you find new movie script or projects that you... I think you do. Okay, put it this way. Why some certain new projects will attract you?
The director, you know, films before interests me, the subject matter. When I read the script and I felt like, oh, wow, he really explored that. And I want to participate. I want to be part of it. A role that has transformation is very important to me because there's something that needs to be changed. So it allows us an audience also to change. It's like in Blue, you know, she is refusing, saying no to everything, until at the end there's a little smile that is coming back to her. And there's something mysterious about saying yes to something. I don't always know why, but I have to follow my intuition because it's not the yes is not a head thing. Is something that is deeper. And it's a joy. You know, I want to explore this. I want to go there. And that's going to take you somewhere. You don't know. And the joy of also working with an actor you never worked with, or you worked with, you want to see it again. So it's, and you know inside there's something you want to explore. There's a theme, you know, some themes you want to explore. Because acting is about exploring, really. It's not about demonstrating. And so it goes into people's lives and hearts and minds and bodies. And so there's something that is transformative.
Or maybe exploring is the joy of being a human being. Since you mentioned about Julie in the movie Blue, I would like to know this, because it's the inability to cry that moved me so much. And in this era, the inability to cry is actually the new norm or the new horror. Do you have anything to say about it to the generation?
The fact of not crying for others?
That we do not cry, that we feel numb.
Well, we're in awe because we're shocked by what's happening. I think we're shocked. And so we don't know how to deal with it. It's not only numb, but it's something of being shocked. And like Krzyzewski, he thought about details. Try and be perfect in your life, in your details, in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your actions. I think when it's too big like this and very disturbing, to find a sort of truthfulness and perfection, not an outside perfection, but in related to the truth of who you are, or what you feel, what you think, that is a way to resist the tsunami of craziness, and be sane. Try to be sane in your everyday basic life. I think that's the rule, because otherwise you cannot. That's the only way to transform actually life and what's happening around us. It's in your being and in, that's what it is.
Staying sane is quite difficult in this crazy era.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, now we are going to pick some questions from you, Thank you for submitting the question. The first one is this. Among the Asian directors you have worked with before, how do you see them differently as compared with French directors and other European filmmakers?
You know, there's no difference. Really. That's what it is. Different human beings because of each of us, we're different. But, you know, there's really no difference.
Do you have any plan to collaborate with Asian directors?
Of course. Of course. I'd love to make some films here. I'd love to. I mean, Jazanka, we talked about making a film for ages. It's never happened. Don't know why.
Go back and write. Go back and write, okay? Okay, this is a good question as well. With the rise of AI and the position of many industry actors or directors, are you afraid that the new technologies may transform consumers' habits and preferences towards a less human cinema with artificial feelings or
I definitely feel that we need to have laws in order to make limits so actors don't lose their job, or, you know, some actors do a lot of voices work, and so we need to make sure that the laws are protecting people's lives, you know, people's earning. But otherwise, I have no fear because it's called artificial intelligence, not real intelligence, not spiritual intelligence, not human intelligence. So I don't care.
Okay, another question. I appreciate your view on the resistance to emotion as an actress in order that the audience can feel it themselves. Could you share a bit more about the most challenging part in this resistance in your acting?
The beginning was what?
The resistance to cry, when we mentioned about it, the character in blue, is the resistance to emotion, which creates another kind of emotion.
That actually, I learned that when I was 17 because I had a teacher who always talked about resistance. I was wondering, what does he mean by that? And as I was working as an actress, you know, I really, something that I really experienced. It's like, so you've got to go as an actor really into it, you know, in being into a place of what it is, you know, of what is hurting so badly that it opens your heart and it makes you, you know, cry. And then as an actor, you've got to go, then you resist. You resist that. So it's difficult because, you know, it's you know, inside of you as an actor, you always have to adapt yourself with your being and what needs to be done, you know, when you tell the story. But I have a story about resistance in that I experienced myself. There was an actor one day, Edgar Ramirez. Do you know who he is? He's Venezuelan. And we were doing a film together, and I could see that he had to go into an emotion. He couldn't go he couldn't find the emotion because it was so difficult. He was like there was so much fear in a way. It was closed up. And he came to me and said, I don't know why I had to deal with it. And I said to him, and it could happen to me, I said, just allow yourself that, accept that you're incapable of doing it. And in accepting that you cannot be emotional, it makes you emotional. Because the fear blocks you, or pride blocks you, or there's something in you blocks you. But if you accept, it's very Taoist, if you accept of being blocked, of not being capable, of being not good. It allows you, it's a kind of humble movement towards, yourself. That then there's something that comes that is freer. And then the emotion comes. That's a very strange thing that happens, but that's really the sort of mechanical thing, but that's like, again, I'll go back to my film when we talked about the sensation, and you have to descend into your sensation, which is a humbling place that allows you for something else to happen, which is not you. Which is not you. It's your capacity to get information, because emotion is not yours. It's going through you, but it's not you. It doesn't belong to you. It's just a tool that's going to make you understand something or made you more conscious of something. But it's your capacity to catch the information. And as actors, that's what we do. We open ourselves, and through often the heart, the body as well can receive. And there's almost antenna that comes into you. And you can feel that in prayers. When you pray, there's something that allows you to be in touch with something bigger that gives you information. And actors, that's what they do. It's not about learning lines and putting intention in the lines. This is not enough, because it's something that needs to transform.
Like when you accept it, you're more open, like a vessel. Things can go through you. Yeah. And then it's a hard winning the head situation, and you can almost use your fear now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I had this feeling when I do stage performance. But okay, do you think stage performance is quite different from cinema performance?
No, definitely in the theater, you have to be louder. Yeah, I'm not gonna do an example. Of course, because but deep down, it comes from the same place. Yeah, the volume has to be a little different. And the difference is, I think the audience is receiving something direct, in the theater. And that's, you're being nourished differently, because there's no medium in between. And you're doing your own close-up. You're watching everything wide, or you focus on somebody, and so you become the camera. I felt like, actually, I said once, when I was doing the show, I said, well, I have 1,400 cameras in front of me. Each of you is a camera, is watching its own film, its own story.
Okay, so here we go, because someone asked me to shorten it. Even though there are still some very good questions, and I have lots of questions in my heart as well. But yeah, we have to end it here. Thank you very, very much for your masterclass.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.